We often strive to be the best, but what happens if instead we focused on being the worst? That is, not just ignorance, but includes some stubbornness and arrogance in the mix. And there are some simple principles that we can use to really shut that learning down. Let's get started. One and done. Tell them once and move on. After a single exposure, they should be able to pick it up. And because you know it really well, they'll clearly get it from you in that single instance. Don't revisit. The forgetting curve isn't really a thing. It's just laziness on the learner's part. They should be able to recall information effortlessly after a single exposure. Expect immediate mastery. Anything less suggests that they simply weren't paying attention. This means that you can hand them that 50-page PDF and walk away. Trust in the illusion of fluency. If they can recognize it, they know it, and better, they understand it. Get straight to that difficult stuff. Don't worry about what they may or may not have learned previously, or that prior knowledge and schema. It just gets in the way of true learning. Thankfully, brains are like sponges. You keep pouring water on them, and they keep absorbing without limit. There's no need to scaffold or to connect new information to existing information. In fact, the more that you do that's new to them, the more that they are going to take on. I'd also recommend when giving instructions to make sure you give like a minimum of 10 at a time, maybe 10 facts. The more that you can push out, the more ideal the learning conditions will be for them. And don't worry about that stuff like intrinsic loading where you overload the working memory. Just keep firing all the details, explanations, and as much new jargon as you possibly can. Remember, it's about quantity over clarity. And don't stop for questions. No, we don't have time for that. Just keep banging ahead. Remember, square pegs will fit into round holes with enough effort. Embrace the split attention effect. That is, put explanations as far away from diagrams as possible, or better yet, include funny memes or moving images that are completely irrelevant to the topic at hand. The more movement they have, the better. Prioritize entertainment and a laugh. This does not distract from the learning in any way. You should aim for maximum cognitive distraction. John Sweller didn't know what he was talking about when he was talking about extraneous load. He just didn't know how to create a killer presentation. His ideas about minimizing irrelevant information are outdated and frankly, a bit dull. A truly engaging presentation thrives on a high level of truly irrelevant visual stimuli. Make sure that the learner knows all about your expertise, even if it's not related to the task at hand. For example, mention your proficiency in competitive thumb wrestling, your encyclopedic knowledge of 1980s Bulgarian pop music, and your gold star ranking in virtual cheese making simulations. It's important that they know how good you are at everything, especially teaching. And if they're not learning, well, it's really on them, because as the expert, you're the one who is giving them everything they need to succeed, especially those irrelevant stories, but you're still the expert. Use should as often as you can in your teaching. They should listen to you. They should do everything that you say. I mean, prescriptive assumptions, they don't need to be tested. They just need to be listened to. After all, they should do exactly as you say. And if you want to throw some more things in there, we could use some causal assumptions, such as the if-thens. If they listen to you, they are guaranteed to get the result. But if they didn't, it's because they didn't do what you told them they should do. Inconsistency and contradiction should feature strongly in your teaching. In fact, you should be consistent with your contradictions. Make sure you focus on one thing and nothing else. Hit them really hard with it, again and again and again, but don't repeat. And the research that suggests that it's not as effective as prioritizing strategies such as spaced repetition and interleaving, pure nonsense. The goal is sheer repetition of a single concept. The learner's discomfort is a sign of intense focus, which we know is the only way that the brain works. After the session though, completely ignore everything that you've done. Never revisit it, never talk about it again. It has been well and truly learnt. In presentations, it's important to give lots of reading on the slides. And it's even better if you can read along with it, just to help them out. Some might call this the redundancy effect. You can call this double efficiency. Furthermore, before proceeding with didactic deployment, internalize the foundational construct of cognitive selectivity. The target audience limited capacity attentional mechanism can only achieve optimal data throughput via a solitary sensory modality within a specific temporal unit. The simultaneous presentation of congruent auditory and isomorphic textual stimuli constitutes a bimodal attention split scenario, resulting in a demonstrable decrement in processing efficiency and precipitating an information saturation error. Therefore, maximal informational density is the operative paradigm. And ask lots of questions as they're watching the video. The brain is really good at multitasking and taking on multiple information streams at the same time. I'm sure you've got all that. Let's keep moving. Don't allow any gaps or moments for reflection. Whilst Barbara Oakley talks about the diffuse state of being, where space helps our brain consolidate learning, you don't have time for that. Your focus must be on speed and volume. You just need to get all of that information out there as quickly as possible. And squash the Pomodoro method. 25 minutes of focus and 5-minute break, that's just 10 minutes per hour that is being wasted. If you're relentless enough in your delivery, then the learning will stick. Just remember not to offer clarifications or repeat any of the information. They definitely got it the first time, and any hesitations or breaks is just going to slow down the information flow, therefore slow down the learning. Desirable difficulties tell us that learning shouldn't be easy, so make it as hard as possible, borderline impossible. If motivation is waning, keep pushing and increasing that difficulty until it is completely gone. Better yet, introduce unnecessary complexity that has nothing to do with the actual learning objective. The aim is to create an insurmountable wall of difficulty. True learning. And remember, you are the expert. What worked for you will definitely work for them, so make sure that you emphasize as much as possible. Sure, there is a thing called expert bias, where you often forget the experience of being a beginner or novice, making it difficult to teach someone who's less experienced because you can no longer relate to the initial difficulties of the learning process. This doesn't apply to you though. As the expert, you know all about these things, and when a student or when a learner is not getting it, it's not because of what you're doing, it's because of them. And that any shortcomings are really a reflection of their inability to learn, not your inability to teach. And on that note, you are the expert. So let me know some of your top tips to really emphasize our pits of poor practice.